So now we're going to identify analogies in the text, and you're going to pick the correct word that completes the analogy. So you're going to look at different comparisons, and you will be able to select the correct word. You're going to demonstrate that you have mastered that on the exit ticket as well at the end of the lesson. Okay, so an analogy is a comparison between two things based on a similarity. If you'll write that down on the green box on your paper. So an analogy is, it works basically by focusing on a single relationship. So a comparison based on one character trait, and it's showing the relationship of those two items. So the keywords here are a single relationship. Make sure you have that written down in your green box. This means that you can determine what relationship exists. So there's going to be a specific relationship between the two items. And then you can figure out which word or words best work to complete the analogy. Okay, so there are multiple different relationships. These are some of the different relationships that we have. So synonyms, if the two words mean the same thing, then obviously you will pick the word that means the same thing as the word before the blank. Antonyms, if two words are opposite from each other. Homophones, they sound similar to each other. Function, the two objects do the same thing. So for example, a vacuum cleaner and a broom both clean the floor. So you could also say that a dishwasher and a sponge. That would be another analogy that's similar because both of them have the same function. Cause and effect, one thing causes another thing to happen. And then classification, one thing falls into the category of the other. So for example, I could say car is to Lamborghini as airplane is to Delta, which is a type of airplane or airline. So that's classification. One type falls into the category or classification of another. Okay, so we're going to go through the process of how to find the correct word to complete the analogy. So what you're going to do first is read the first comparison and then determine the relationship that exists between the two words. So the relationship there is the most important part of the initial step. Then you need to apply that relationship to the second comparison. Then you will select your answer based on the word that correctly completes that relationship or the comparison. So if you don't know what the word in any of the analogies or the answer choices means, try to eliminate all the choices that you know won't work, because there will be words on the EOC that you come across that you don't know. But that's okay. You can still make your best guess, and you can come a lot closer to getting the right answer than if you just circle a random answer. So do your best to try to eliminate at least 2 wrong answers. Okay, so I'm going to model this one. Piston is to engine, as ventricle is to what? Okay, so I'm going to do Rams. I've already read my question now, and I annotated. I circled the answer. And I know that the colon here means is to. So that's another annotation I can make. Now I'm going to mark through 2 wrong answers. So my answers are bomb, computer, heart, and cow. So in order to mark through 2 wrong answers, I'm going to go over here to my steps. So the first thing, I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at the first comparison. Piston is to engine. Okay, so I know that a piston is a part of an engine. So this is probably going to be classification. So now, based on that, I need to apply classification to ventricle. So the word that came first over here was the part that fits inside of the engine. So I know that ventricle will also fit inside of whatever this is. So I'm not really sure what ventricle means. I think I remember from science, maybe something to do with the body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my answer choices, and I'm going to try now to select the right answer and cross through two wrong ones. So I don't think a ventricle is part of a bomb, so I'm going to cross through that one. And I don't think a ventricle is part of a computer, because I think it has to do with something with biology. So it's either part of a heart here or part of a cow. Now, I think I think I remember the ventricle is a part of the heart. It's a section of the human heart. And so I think based on my knowledge of classification, I'm going to select heart as the correct answer. So now I've completed and I've selected my right answer.